The gentleman is recognized.
I just want to slow this down and be very methodical about it, because most of us here are attorneys, and in this case we're supposed to also be finders of fact. And we're supposed to carefully and objectively analyze the claims against the record. So let's do that. There are two articles to this impeachment resolution, of course: abuse of power and obstruction of justice. On the first, Democrats know there is zero direct evidence in the record of these proceedings to show that President Trump engaged in any scheme of any kind, as is alleged in the resolution, or that he intended in his dealings with Ukraine to influence the 2020 election. No impeachment should ever proceed on the basis of hearsay and conjecture and speculation that wouldn't even be admissible in a local traffic court, and we say that over and over. To my friend Ms. Jayapal, there is simply no evidence of any condition, and I guess I need to repeat the four indisputable facts again that are in this record, because repetition apparently is really necessary here. First, both President and Zelensky say there was no pressure exerted. Number two, the July 25th call transcript shows no conditionality between aid funding and an investigation. Number three, Ukraine was not aware of the aid, as has been said over and over here, that it was being delayed. And number four, they never opened an investigation. They still received the aid, and they got the meeting. Our colleagues keep misrepresenting the facts. Not only do they misrepresent the do me a favor versus do us a favor, but only 3 of the 17 witnesses called by Chairman Schiff listened in on a call. Okay, only 3 of them. And contrary to the assertions that we've heard this morning, they didn't provide key, uncontrovertible, first-hand testimony of what happened on the call. All 3 of the testimonies contradicted each other. So the 3 people that listened in directly didn't even know. The evidence shows that President Trump holds a deep-seated, genuine, and reasonable skepticism of Ukraine due to its history of pervasive corruption, and his administration sought proof that the newly elected president was a true reformer. Of course, as has been pointed out, the president soon found out that he is a swamp drainer, and that's why the funds were released. President Trump wanted to ensure that the American taxpayer-funded security assistance would not be squandered by what has been reported as the 3rd most corrupt nation in the world before Zelensky. And the discussions they had were never about what will happen in 2020, but rather about what happened in 2016. So the second claim of this resolution is that the president obstructed Congress, but he simply did what virtually every other president in the modern era has also done. What's his big infraction here? He asserted a legitimate executive privilege and legal immunity to question subpoenas issued by various White House officials. There's no evidence of any impeachable conduct with that. It's very commonplace. On every previous occasion of this assertion in the past, the natural impasse that exists between the executive and legislative branches in our constitutional system has been easily and calmly resolved either by a good faith negotiation or a simple filing with the 3rd branch of our government, the judicial branch. We let the courts decide it. In spite of their allegations here, Democrats know President Trump has lawful cause to challenge those subpoenas in this matter. In this case, House Democrats are trying to impeach President Trump simply for seeking judicial review over whether the direct communications between high-ranking advisors and a president under these circumstances are privileged or should be disclosed. That case would be expedited in the courts. It wouldn't take that long. But Democrats said they don't have time for that. Why? Because they promised their base an impeachment by Christmas. This whole thing is so absurd. It should be noted, by the way, that President Trump has consistently cooperated with Congress in fulfilling its oversight and investigation responsibilities here. Over 25 administration officials have testified before Oversight Committee this year, 20 before this committee. At the start of the impeachment inquiry, the White House produced more than 100,000 pages of documents to the Oversight Committee. And of course, he also quickly declassified and produced to everyone the call transcript. Democrats know this is an absurd charge about obstruction, and the truth is, in the history of the Republic, there's never been a single-party fraudulent impeachment process deployed against a president like the one that is being used against Donald Trump. They're the ones seeking to nullify our vital constitutional safeguards with this sham. Their ultimate objective is to nullify the votes of the 63 million Americans who voted to elect Donald Trump to president. They violated due process and all the rest. My colleague, Sheila Jackson-Lee, a little while ago, evoked and quoted Barbara Jordan, but she's the one that said during the Watergate inquiry, impeachment not only mandates due process, but due process quadrupled. They have violated that here. They have violated the rules, and everybody in the country can see it. This impeachment's going to fail. The Democrats will pay a heavy political price for it. But the Pandora's box they've opened today will do irreparable injury to our country in the years ahead. That's why we're concerned. That's why the facts matter. And that's why we need to move on. I yield back.